back to my YouTube channel. My name is Udeme, and I am the host of All the Things We See podcast, a podcast that is all about telling stories by individuals such as you and I. Most of the time, I tell the stories. Other times, I bring people on to come and talk about their journey and everything they've experienced and some of the good things that they are currently doing. So yeah, check it out on allthethingswesee.com. Now, for today's video, I'm going to be talking about podcasting versus YouTubing. The big question, which one should I start? That is what this video is all about. So if you have been confused about whether to start a YouTube channel or to have a podcast, this video is for you. Stay tuned. As you would know, or if you do not already know, there are so many pros and cons to either of these channels, whether it is YouTube or it is podcasting. They both have their pros and cons. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to you. You are the common denominator. So you are the one that will end up deciding which of these channels that you want to use, or if you want to use both of them. There is no crime at all in using both. Right now, I blog, I have this YouTube channel, and I have a podcast. So as time goes on, you gain clarity, and then you figure out which of them is most important to you. So I think it is all about you. Now, moving into the real deal. The reason why I started podcasting was because I did not think that I would ever be bold enough to be on camera. I enjoy being on camera, but I did not think initially that I would enjoy being on camera. So I went to podcasting because I was like, okay, I can hide behind that. They can only hear my voice, and then I hated my voice. So you're always going to have something that you struggle with. It all now depends on your mindset and just coming out of all of those things. That is the mindset aspect of this whole thing. So when you get comfortable with your voice, yourself on camera, I personally recommend that you experiment, which is what I am doing. Try all of the avenues. You don't have to try it all at the same time. Pick one and try. So I started with podcasting because, like I said, I wasn't comfortable being on camera. So when I went into podcasting is not so big here in Nigeria. So if you do not have a following already, it might be a little bit hard it will be hard to get an audience, because even for people who already have a following, it's still hard to retain that audience, to have them click on to listen. I feel like in Nigeria, a lot of people are already used to the visual part of content creation. They are used to seeing, whether it is on Instagram, whether it is on YouTube, the seeing aspect is way more common here in Nigeria. So to tell people to click onto an audio file and just listen for hours might not be a very easy thing to do. So what do you need to know? Creating podcast content is way easier than creating YouTube videos, just so you know. I could literally be in my pajamas because nobody is seeing me visually. There is no pressure to look camera ready. So all you have to do is pick up your phone or whatever instrument, your equipment that you have, and record a podcast. Anybody can record a podcast. There are 9-year-olds with podcasts. Literally anybody. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Anybody at all can start a podcast. Yes, I know on YouTube we have kids on YouTube as well, but with YouTube, even now, I'm not satisfied with the content that I put out. Not the value of the content, more because it is all about the visual, it has to be appealing. So having the right equipment is usually the best, but you do not have to have the right equipment to experiment, because you do not know whether this is where you want to be permanently, if this is where you want your home base to be, or if you prefer it to be podcasting. So start with your smartphone. I am currently recording this video on my smartphone camera, an Android. So you can start with whatever phone that you have and just put out content and see how people react to it. So why I said it's easier to create content with on a podcast than on YouTube channel is because you need to think about your setting. Like I had to arrange this room, do things, because you're going to be seen, and I do not want you to be distracted by anything around. It is not at its best, obviously, but there's just a lot more work that you have to do. You have to put on an outfit, you have to look neat and decent so that people stay on. And you also have to remember that if your video is not visually appealing or the sound quality is not great, people are going to click out. On YouTube, according to statistics, if people watch your video for up to 5 minutes, you are doing amazingly, like you are doing great. But if after 1 minute people click out of your videos, yeah. So why do I say that? I say so because on podcast, because it's just audio, people do not have to actually pay attention to their phones or their televisions or anything. People can do it, can multitask listening to podcasts with doing chores or driving and all of that. It is easier for people to listen for longer period of times because they can do other things while listening to a podcast. But for YouTube videos, they have to see what you're recommending, or they have to look at your face, look at how you're, like, if you drop this phone now and you're not looking at me while this video is playing, you will lose interest after some time. And then there's also the distraction of suggested content. So when you're watching a YouTube video, you have all the scrolling that you're doing, seeing other videos that YouTube suggests to you, and in the process you might get distracted from my video and decide to click on a video that seems more interesting to you. So there's all of that distraction while on YouTube that you do not have for podcast listeners. So in terms of consumption time, podcast is the best because people are not doing any other thing on the phone while they are listening to your podcast. Like, they don't have that distraction. All they are doing is listening to the podcast and doing whatever else it is they are doing. So that is one of the advantages that I would say podcast has over YouTube. But in terms of search engine optimization, I would say that YouTube is better, because most times if you Google how to do something on Google, they lead you to a YouTube video of how that thing is being done. So I would say YouTube has that over podcasting, and you stand a chance. Even though there are over, I think, 500 million YouTube channels, for some reason, if you know how to optimize your YouTube channel very well, if you create content around a subject, people still get to see it, despite the fact that maybe you just came on YouTube 3 days ago. So there is that what's the word I'm looking for? There is that advantage that is an advantage that YouTube has over podcasts. Another advantage that YouTube has over podcasts is that there is the you have the opportunity to show your personality, because you are seeing me talk, you are seeing my gestures and the way my mannerisms. You could, people who like that can easily connect with me, so you would want to like watch me more because you like the way I act or the way my personality shines, that kind of thing. But on podcast, they can only hear your voice. So if you're not great at tweaking your voice to, or your words to somehow show your personality, it might be a little bit more difficult than someone who people are seeing visually. So that is the advantage that YouTube also has over podcasting. But also in podcasting, if you're a great storyteller, you don't have to be great actually, even if you're a pretty decent storyteller, there is the advantage of a deeper connection. So it's way more than the surface connection. It's way more than seeing your personality and your mannerisms. It's the stories that you are telling, the value that you're impacting, the way you are teaching, the way you are inspiring with your voice. Like, your voice almost becomes like you tap into like an emotional side of people with podcasting. That is what I believe, because that's how the podcasts I keep going back to are people that I think to myself I have an emotional connection with, or I can relate so deeply to what this person is saying. So you have the opportunity to build a stronger relationship with your audience on podcasts, because on YouTube anybody could click on your YouTube video. Do you understand? But for someone to go out of the way to recommend your podcast, it means that you've touched an emotional part of that person, as far as there's that deeper connection to me. Also know that I'm not an expert on all of these things. I'm only speaking based on my experiences. I do not have a large following on my podcast, neither do I have a large following here on my YouTube, but these are things that I have experienced to a certain level. So I'm speaking based on that, not as the expert. And if you notice what I'm doing, I'm telling you pros of both the YouTube aspect and pros of the podcast aspect. So at the end of the day, it is still your decision. which of these platforms that you decide to use to push out content. So I am really not making a decision for you. I'm not going to say this one is better than this one. They both have their pros and they both have their cons. Now, I've been on platforms where people ask, oh, can I take my podcast content and put it on my YouTube channel as content? Like, it's called repurposed content. So that's what that is. I personally am not a fan, because I know that when trying to listen to podcasts, I never go to YouTube to search for podcasts to listen. I can search for suggestions or recommendations of podcasts to listen to, which, by the way, I do here. I recommend podcasts all the time. I'll pop up some examples somewhere here. So I can do that, but I would never actually go to a channel to listen to a podcast, because YouTube is meant to be visual. So if all you have is a picture of maybe your logo and then the audio playing, it does not have the same effect. It's not interesting to listen to. It almost feels boring. And if I'm willing to spend 45 minutes or up to an hour listening to your podcast on YouTube, I might as well subscribe on the podcast platform. Why would I have to come to YouTube to subscribe? And then if you're interviewing people, that might be a little bit more interesting to put on your YouTube channel, because of course they'll see your mannerisms, your gesticulations. But that might be a problem for the person who is listening to the podcast in the audio version. Why? Because if you are saying, oh, look at this while you are talking on the podcast, the person who is listening on the audio and cannot see that might become disinterested and click out. So I would never really recommend that as a way to go, because I know personally, as a consumer, I'm not a fan of podcasts like putting their content on YouTube, but I am not trashing it altogether. Based on experience as a consumer, I am not a fan. I know lots of people who are not a fan of that. YouTube is visual, which is why people stay on. So if they are not seeing, all they are seeing is the slide of your logo with you talking, it doesn't make a lot of sense. For me personally, I would not listen to that podcast on a YouTube channel. So you have to keep that at the front of your mind. So, and another thing I also want to talk about is that, based on whether you are camera shy or you don't like your voice, the way it sounds. I also do not like my voice, and I feel like I'm awkward on camera as well. So I just feel like you just need to start. Just start. Because 10 years from now, you will still be doing this research of, oh, is YouTube better than podcasting? Which one should I? Let's go of the self-doubt and just start something. Clarity comes by doing. As you keep doing, you'll find out which one you gravitate more to, which one comes more naturally to you, and then you can now focus your energies on that one. So that's what I would say. Like, don't keep procrastinating. Right now I shouldn't be making this video because it is not the quality that I want it to be. I want my background to be on point. I want the camera to be laser focused. I want the sound quality to be better than this. I have so many plans, but I am putting out this content because I know there are people that would need to see an example of people who are doing it on a budget. By the way, if you want to find out how to start your podcast on a budget with 0 naira, I have a video for that. I'm going to link it in the description box as well. And yeah, we've come to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learned something, and this will give you the push to actually go out and start your own podcast or YouTube channel. If you're going to start, tell me in the description box. Share this video, guys. Like this video, leave a comment, hit that notification bell so that you get notified when once I upload new videos. I know I have not been the most consistent, but I'm trying. It is not easy. I'm trying. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. Stay safe and stay home. Peace out. Bye.